Well, another week where we look at our poll and we go, the top half is a little easier, maybe a little tougher than last week, but the bottom half was just throw them all up in the air. And
Mayhem.
yeah, because how do you weight things? Like, for example, Pitt beat SMU twice to open the ACC season, but then Pitt loses at Miami, and then SMU goes in and beats Miami. And you have to say to yourself, how much do
You
you
know.
factor in all those kind of things? And then
Yeah.
um, Creighton moved way up for me, and I saw that Creighton, I think, is up to 7 in the RPI, and it's just there's some
I,
of it
I don't know
it's
how
just
you weigh
confusing.
things. I mean, that's what makes the sport fun is there's been so much parity over the last few seasons. And right now it feels like anyone, aside from probably Texas and Nebraska, can lose any match that they're going into. When I was doing my poll, a slight movement at the top just with Pitt's loss. But to be honest, like even with that match against Miami, Pitt felt like they were in the driver's seat the whole time. And you go back to that fifth set, and it's like Pitt hits almost 600, but has five missed serves. So they're essentially handing Miami that fifth set. And
Right.
obviously, Flo Heredia Cologne basically 40 kills, goes off for 38, hits over 300. Like, what do you do when a player's scoring 40 points?
Gosh, she is just really good, and she makes her
Yeah.
mistakes, and she tries to get 3 points for one swing sometimes, and the ball
Yeah.
crushes a hole in the back wall, and especially in that little gym, you know. And I think you have to factor that in too. That's such a
Yeah.
tough place to play.
It's tough. I called a game there, I want to say 2 years ago. And yeah, I mean, I don't even remember who Miami was playing, but it was another really good team. And I think it went 5 sets and Miami ended up losing. But yeah, most of it, I was like, this is because that environment is crazy. And the Miami fans are I mean, it's Miami, like they're there to party. It was a freaking blast in there and it's 900 degrees. So it's a tough place to play.
But let's talk about some of the more important things. Let's start with your Cubs, even though it's
Stop it.
ending. But you went, you got into it, and
Yeah, I mean, that's one of those things where it's like it was a fun year. You lose in game 5 in the NLDS. Like it was fun. Whatever. It was a good year. I'm still bitter about it, but we weren't supposed to even get a game off of Milwaukee, so whatever. I'll take it.
because we made a joke at your expense that there were all the reverse sweeps, but not the Cubs.
You know? I thought about it too. I remember, I don't know, we were at a bar watching on Saturday and I made the joke about like a reverse sweep. Or I didn't even make a joke. I was just like saying it in passing. But in my head, reverse sweep like made so much sense. And everyone was like, what are you talking about?
Well, since we're going to have our typical all over the place, we're zooming here on Monday midday, and of course you'll be seeing this on Tuesday and thereafter. But just as you started saying that, I just got from Stacy the top 16, so our poll. So we'll get to that in a bit. Last week we had the announcement after that we will have the Russ Rose National Coach of the Year award, the 900 square feet National Coach of the Year, and that's pretty cool. And I'm sure
Yeah.
you thought that was neat because.
Hmm.
And then this Wednesday we will have our National Player of the Year award, and it is equally as impressive, in my humble opinion.
No, I'm excited. I'm excited for that one with the announcement. And yeah, the interview with Russ was also really cool. I loved listening to that.
Yeah, no, he's fun to talk to, and he fit me in around golf outing, so pretty much every day for him. All right, here's what we got. I don't have point totals, so I just have the top 16, but it goes Nebraska, Texas, Kentucky. Can you hear my dogs bark in the background?
A little bit. They're just excited to hear the poll.
Yeah, yeah, the UPS truck might have come by. So here's the thing about the UPS truck. They sound the same. So in Louisiana, where we lived, they barked at the UPS truck. They didn't even know the
Yeah.
guy. Here, they hear the UPS truck, they just bark. But this UPS guy, when he leaves big packages, leaves 2 dog biscuits. You
Oh,
think that maybe they would, pick up on that, but no. So,
that's cute.
meanwhile, back to this 900 square feet, top 16 media poll. Nebraska, Texas, Kentucky, Louisville, Pittsburgh, Stanford,
Mhm.
Arizona State, Wisconsin, SMU, TCU, Texas A&M, Purdue, Creighton, way undervalued Creighton at 13. Miami, Tennessee,
Yeah.
Kansas. Tennessee still doesn't pass the eyeball test for me. There, I don't remember who I had in there instead of them, but uh,
How? I think Kansas is a great team. Don't get me wrong. And I know most of their losses are coming in five, but they're a seven-loss team.
Yeah.
I
And
mean, for me, they are way down below a BYU, a Penn State, a Baylor. I would put them below Minnesota. Like, I mean, whatever. It's a group
I
poll.
still had Indiana.
I
I
don't
still
even
had
have
Indiana in
them.
there.
I don't even have. I still put Indiana in there because you have a loss against Miami, who now it was the beginning of the year, but that's a very good win now. UCLA, USC. When you compare strength of wins versus losses, and you look at the teams around them, for me, I was going between BYU and Penn State. And BYU, the only good win they have is USC, and they have two unranked losses. Okay, you compare those to Indiana's unranked losses. Indiana wins out and wins. The next best team, in my opinion, is Penn State. I know they have six losses, so that immediately puts Indiana at a better position, but Penn State has better wins. So I don't feel great putting a six-loss team in my top 16. So Indiana won out. And I don't know, whatever. I guess Kansas is in there and that's fine, but I do not have them anywhere close to 16.
How do you explain the Penn State Wisconsin sweep?
How do you explain it? Well, I don't, I will start off by saying I do not like blaming specific players for losses. However, when you are averaging over 5.2 kills a set going into a match, you're number one in the country in kills per set, and you go into an environment and the rest of your team plays pretty well, and you have the worst game of the season. It was really tough for Wisconsin to get a win when Mimi Collier was really, really struggling. And to be honest, they were out without Charlie Furbringer, their setter. So that obviously throws a wrench in the offense. I didn't think Addie Horner had a bad game. I think Horner did well for the situation that she was in at Rec Hall in a wideout. It was so loud in there you couldn't even hear. It was funny. Penn State also, it was homecoming for football, and so they were having a parade. And by the time the game started, the arena was only half full, and we were like, "Did people give up on this team? Like, what's happening?" And after the first set, when the parade was over, then it finally filled in. But it got louder and louder as the match went on, and you could tell that Wisconsin never got comfortable. Right away, Mimi Collier was really struggling. She was the only player that had played in the whiteout previously for Oregon and only had two kills and hit negative like 300 in that game. So you wondered how she was going to do coming into that environment. Was she going to be better? Was she not? She really struggled. And I thought the rest of Wisconsin's players did fine. I don't think anyone was like particularly amazing, but typically that's how they've been winning games where like no one struggles and Mimi does really well. But they needed Mimi to be big in that game, and she wasn't.
Note to Wisconsin opponents when they visit, have a whiteout game. Um,
Something like that. Yeah. And to be honest, Penn State needed that win a lot more than Wisconsin did. I think Penn
Absolutely.
State had lost their last two of three matches. They got crushed at home by Nebraska. They needed that win a lot more than a depleted Wisconsin team did at the time.
And you referenced the football game. Penn State lost, and James Franklin got fired. And oh yeah,
Oh yeah, not cheering, absolutely not cheering that on. But I was very happy
yeah.
Northwestern got a win.
But Emily, he has a $49.8 million buyout, and they have to
I would
hire.
love
Think
to
how
get
many
fired.
volleyballs that would buy.
I think of it in terms of coffee. Like you're literally getting 10 million coffees.
I,
I know. Awesome win for Northwestern. Awesome football win for Indiana. I hate seeing coaches fired coming from a family where we have head coaches, and just college coaches. There's literally nothing worse, and I feel really bad. But I too would get fired for $15 million. So I don't know.
yeah, it's the old. I take a punch from Mike Tyson for whatever. Yeah, we take.
Oh yeah.
Um, so the UPI, the yes thing of the UPS, the RPI is updated. Has to your point, Kansas is 26.
Yeah.
To my point, Creighton is 7. And then there's a couple other big surprises in there. UTEP 20. Good. UTEP's good. I've watched them. They're a nice team. Cincinnati 2-3 in the Big 12, but 21.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
so
And again, I think when you look at the RPI, and I've been doing a lot of deep dive, and I've got Indiana Purdue on Thursday. But Indiana's all the way up at 10 in RPI. So again, that was surprising to me that, or at least our voters, and I know the RPI wasn't out by then, but they didn't have them
yeah.
at 16 compared to Kansas, who is again a seven-loss team, but I digress.
Let me run through the standings real quick. The four big conferences. Louisville and North Carolina are the only two unbeatens at 6-0 in the ACC. Miami, Stanford, Pitt are all 4-1, and of course SMU is 4-2, but that's with two losses to Pitt.
Mhm.
The only unbeaten in the Big 12 is Arizona State at 5-0. And you got Colorado at 5-1, TCU at 4-1, Iowa State at 4-2. Iowa State's a real nice, scary team that can do really well come tournament time.
Yeah, for sure.
BYU and Kansas 4-2, BYU's 3-2. In the Big Ten, the only unbeaten is Nebraska at 6-0, and then big surprise to me is Illinois at 5-1 with Indiana and Wisconsin. And then Michigan State, Minnesota, Penn State, Purdue, UCLA, all at 4-2. And that reminds me about
Yeah.
Illinois. Illinois is 17 in the RPI, and I think that's
Yeah.
not what we were expecting. And I think that's a real.
No. I've had a lot of conversations just about the Big Ten in general, and it really is Nebraska, and then there's like 9 teams, maybe 10 teams that are actually decent teams that could and potentially will make the tournament. Depends on how everything else shakes out, but man, there's a lot of like above average teams in the Big Ten, where normally you have, the two good teams and then about 5 teams that are fighting for that middle of the pack and a lot of kind of like struggling teams, but it feels like it's Nebraska and then everyone else in any one of those 10 or so, maybe 11 teams could get wins, which is scary.
Which goes along with everything we said most of the season. It feels like Nebraska and Texas, and then everybody else. Uh,
Yeah, for sure.
Speaking of Texas, the only two unbeaten's in the SEC are Texas at 6-0, Kentucky at 5-0. A&M
Yeah.
is 5-1, and still A&M, just you watch them, and except for Logan Lednicki, and I don't go, but they just keep winning. They're good. They're 13-3.
Yeah.
Tennessee is 4-1. Auburn's 4-2. Oklahoma's 4-2. Florida's 4-2. Good time to mention that you've got Oklahoma at Texas, I think, this week.
Yeah, I'm excited. Got him on Sunday. I mean, Oklahoma beat Texas last year. It was their first Texas's first home loss, and I don't even know how long they won in 5. When you got a player like Alexis Shelton, who also doesn't even lead the team in kills per set right now, I believe, which is pretty scary. Um, I read that yesterday, and maybe I need to double check myself. But yeah, I mean, when you're watching film, like Shelton looks as good as ever, but I don't know. Texas is not a team that I would want to play at all this year. So we'll see. I hope it's a good environment. It's on Sunday. F1's also happening in Austin. So hopefully we get a decent amount of fans. But I don't know. You just never know what can happen when you think back to last year, too, with how good Texas looked. So I don't know.
It's Gregory Jim. It's number 1, 2, Texas, whatever,
Yeah.
number 2, I guess. I still voted him number 1, but just by a little tiny bit. And I was swayed
They've
this week
got
by Nebraska's
they've got
victory
big
over
wins.
Purdue to maybe switch. And I was like, no, Texas hasn't done anything wrong. They lost a set at Alabama, which played out of its mind in the first set. I watched that match.
Yeah.
Speaking of the SEC, there's a couple teams that I'm really surprised. Arkansas is 1-5, and I
Yeah.
expected more to them. And then I feel bad for Vanderbilt at 1-5, and they're a new team. They're 5-10, 1-5 in the league, and it's too early. It's only a third of the way through the conference season, but we expected more from them after all the preparation and all the buildup and everything that we saw. And then after you saw them, you had them early in that first match.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think it's a team that like, most of those players haven't, some of their players that transferred in this year have played a full season, but most of them haven't. They've been practicing for literally 2 years straight. So I think everyone's probably trying to get a grasp of what SEC play even looks like and how to go about a season and staying healthy and all of that. So, I think the expectations for the program, like I will say, like, I feel like the bar from the outside is decently low. If, like, it's a new team coming in, it's a very hard conference that has gotten more teams into the NCAA tournament than, it feels like ever. So I don't know. They're playing in a tough conference. I like the way they play, but there's still, there's a lot of parity right now that a lot of hype in the beginning of the year, doesn't necessarily mean anything. But I still love watching them. Like every time I turn them on, I'm like, oh, this team still is really fun.
That's good. We were talking about the schedule, and of course, we'll go to that. But Creighton plays St. John's and Seton Hall at home, and just wanted to get them out of the way. And let's just go through alphabetically. The ACC, Florida State and Miami make the north the Bay Area trip to Stanford and Cal. Florida State is one of those teams where they're going to break through and get a big win at some point. But
Yeah.
yeah, And then what it was is it Sunday? Oh, SMU at Louisville on Friday, and
Yep.
Sunday,
Sneaky, sneaky good
uh,
one.
yeah, Sunday Pitt at Louisville. And
Yeah.
that's the showcase match of the week right there.
Oh yeah.
That's just been
Yeah.
that's been such an unbelievable rivalry that almost always goes 5 sets. It's had reverse sweeps. It's had just everything.
Yeah. And I think, for Pitt coming off of that loss to Miami, they really need to prove themselves. And I think Louisville's in a situation as well where, they have a win over Creighton, they got a good win over Stanford, but I think people are still undervaluing them because they just haven't played as tough of a schedule. So if they could get a win against Pitt, I think that would really push them in to good conversation. I mean, to me, that'd probably put them as my number three.
Big 12's got 3 good matches on Wednesday. Cincinnati, who's not ranked, but like I said, it's 20. What are they? 21 in the RPI, plays at TCU. K State goes to Baylor. That's going to be a really, really good match. And Utah, Colorado. And Utah's playing for its life. It needs all the victories they can put together. And Colorado had a tough trip out west, but still um, very good. Arizona State, BYU on Thursday.
Hmm.
And Cincinnati at Baylor on Friday. Saturday, Arizona State at Utah. Tough game for Arizona State. Uh,
Yeah, they've got a tough week. I mean, they just got wins over Baylor and Colorado, so really good again week in the Big 12. I think Arizona State's doing an awesome job. They still only have two losses to Pitt and to Texas. I feel like they still keep climbing up in the top 16, at least our top 16. But if they could get two wins this weekend, I think that would be really big against, a good BYU team and a really good Utah team as well.
the Purdue Indiana match is so big that the Big 12 schedule has it twice. It's on there for some reason. It's on there 2 times.
Yeah, maybe because it's being played at a neutral site. So it's they're playing at Gamebridge, where the Pacers and the Fever play. The only bummer about it is so it's on Thursday, which is the start of Indiana high school sectionals. So literally every team in the state is going to be playing, which is like kind of a bummer. So there's not going to be a lot of like younger girls there, but it's still like a ton of tickets have sold. And I mean, we've talked about this, but me being from Bloomington and going to that rivalry game my entire life, like getting to call it this is my third year. Yeah, third year calling it the Mon on Spike Trophy game, and I'm so excited. I'm so excited. I'm so giddy.
That's Big Ten Network, Maine, right?
Big Ten Network Maine. Also, depending on whether Indiana fell in the rankings, they were 20th last week, which was the highest ranking in program history. This would be the first time that Purdue and Indiana have met while both were a ranked team in history. So I'm hoping Indiana didn't fall too far down. They got swept by Michigan State last week. But honestly, that was kind of a trap game. Michigan State's sneaky good. So I don't
Right.
know. I don't expect them to fall out of the rankings, but coaches are finicky, so you never know.
The next day, Nebraska at Michigan State. All of a sudden, that becomes a pretty decent match in theory.
Yeah.
Michigan
Yeah.
State's tough at home, coming off, you know, big victory and great record, nice turnaround. You know,
Yeah.
what else we got this week in the Big Ten? UCLA, Wisconsin, maybe good match. Penn
I
State.
mean, again, it's a depleted Wisconsin team. Verbringer's still out indefinitely. Grace Egan just got back to practicing. No idea if she'll be cleared, but don't know if she'll be back in. That's a really good chance for UCLA to get another big win after taking down Minnesota earlier and use USC last weekend.
Penn State and Minnesota go back to back at Washington, and USC, Wisconsin on.
Yeah, I'm honestly semi worried for Wisconsin. Depending on how Collier plays, that team really needs her to do well, and the West Coast trip is always tough for everyone. So they're at LA, right?
Oh, that's at Madison. USC at Madison.
Oh, they're home. Okay, okay. That definitely helps. But again, depleted Wisconsin team. No idea who's actually going to be out in the starting lineup. Could be tough.
And what have we here for the SEC?
Not a lot of good games this
Florida,
week.
Tennessee on Wednesday. Uh,
Sure.
Auburn's kind of lurking at Kentucky. That's not a gimme.
Yeah.
Oklahoma at Texas A&M before you get them, I think.
Yep.
No, not a gripping, exciting week in the SEC. Florida goes to
No.
Kentucky, which in years past has been one of the great rivalries. And then Sunday, you got Oklahoma, Texas, the one we were just talking about. Um, yeah, not not a little kind of a
No
mid.
marquee matches, but I feel like a lot of teams in the middle that could maybe get upsets against teams that are fine. Like Auburn, Tennessee, for example. Like I could sneaky see Auburn getting a win against Tennessee on Sunday, but nothing like gripping.
Yeah. Well, um, this week is the International Volleyball Hall of Fame induction ceremony in
Ooh, love
Holyoke,
that.
Massachusetts. IVHF.org. You should go there. They're also streaming the ceremonies live on Volleyball World YouTube, which has 4.2 million subscribers. There are
Fun.
9 inductees plus a variety of other people. The media award is going to Paul Sunderland. Mick Haley and his wife Carrie are flying into Boston. We're going to pick them up and take
Uh,
the Holyoke. Fabio and Hugh will both be there representing the FIVB. John
uh,
Spera, the head of USA Volleyball, will be there. I mean, everybody and anybody's coming. And it's a huge weekend. Holyoke's one of those cool cities that was once called the paper capital of the world and then hit terrible hard times and is really coming back and doing positive things. And the Hall of Fame is like such a cool place and a great event. And I'm excited because I have a big part of it. I'm on the board of directors. That any club that would have me, I don't know, but nonetheless. And it's just a really, really fun time. The leaves are changing here in the Northeast, like it's just fabulously great. And um,
I was about to say, what a beautiful place to be at this time of year for the
hopefully
Hall of
the
Fame
weather will be better than
induction.
today. Yeah, it's like 50 and raining outside here today, and we got to get off because Brenda's been gone for 2 weeks. She gets home tomorrow, and I have to hurry up and clean the house. It's really bad.
Best of luck. Get it done.
Luckily, she reads 900 square feet every day, but she doesn't usually watch the videos. If you're not subscribed to 900 square feet, the daily all volleyball email, the only all volleyball email, the link is in the description of this YouTube. Thank you for watching. She is Emily Ehman of Big Ten Network, ESPN, Fox, Volleyball World TV, and 900 square feet video. And I'm Lee, and thank you for watching.